Hello, Internet. It is I, Lawrence the Office Drone, back again, and now in a new outfit, as you can see here. So I got this outfit because I managed to convince, the operator that personalities like me, after they reach milestones, tend to get outfits and new stuff like that. So, to celebrate 20 shorts, not counting the introduction, because no one really counts the introduction for that, I got a new outfit. It's a waffle weave, kind of dark blue, sort of like a more casual Friday kind of look. Not as formal as my normal attire, but still, appropriate office wear, but maybe on a casual Friday kind of deal. So yeah, I get this new outfit. I'm happy. Thank you, operator. Yes, of course, I am always joined by my friend, operator, my colleague. Anything else you like to say? Right, doesn't talk all that much. Anyways, we have now produced, released, and unleashed upon the world 20 shorts episodes. So, for those of you who don't know, I'll just explain the purpose behind our shorts. Originally, these were an easy way to get, shorter shows that I couldn't really do a whole lot of talking about, but were still good, and I wanted to recommend to office workers and the people at large. Yeah. And because we also did some research into this, and it turned out that, office workers at the end of a tiring day are not up for listening to or looking at an 8 or 10 minute video, and they might want a quick, short recommendation, and some of these office workers at the end of a day are zoned out of their minds and just want to flip through shorts. And this is where they are, so we need to reach them by being where they are. Yeah, so that's how it started off. We also then expanded to do some, office stories, talking about some of the terrible experiences that I've had, or the odd experiences. We also did some jokes, which I like. Well, some of them at least. Anyways, these shorts were like a great opportunity to expand and explore, and I'm really glad about that. I'm also considering for things like office stories and stuff like that, wearing this outfit now that I have it, more of a storytelling, casual vibed kind of thing. Yeah. But I think we can do some more short stuff in the future, but we aren't limiting ourselves to shorts. We are working on another, live stream script kind of deal, for a bigger episode. I still like doing those, but, it's not as easy to reach, our intended audience through them, but I still like doing them, and I still will be doing them. It's just maybe not as often. We've discussed this in the past, but there is another live stream script in the works. So yeah, that will happen whenever we're ready, and, we don't operate on a real schedule here, that. Anyways, we are also doing other things. I may expand into other things. My empire is growing. Yes, I will not overthrow everybody. I promise. But hey, I've been doing fun stuff with Soundscape people, and that was great. And I also like doing the video game stuff. Maybe we can do something like that. The future is endless, but either way, I've been talking long enough. So, here for your enjoyment is all of our, shorts episodes in one video, so that way you can, watch them all at once. Well, I've got nothing more to say. Let's just run the film. Run the film! Lawrence here with another audio show for you to listen to while at a terrible office job. Today, the show I have to recommend to you is Agendum. This is a BBC Radio 4 comedy podcast that spoofs newscasts. The presenter of the show goes through a wide range of outlandish stories with over-the-top guests and other interviewees. Although the stories are quite outlandish, some do have links with actual news stories, and are also funny in that regard. The voice actors are able to convey a serious tone while saying some of the most absurd and wacky things ever. However, there are only 8 episodes, so you'll get through this series quite quickly. I also found that it was good in small amounts, such as an episode or 2 a day, and not to binge it all during a single day. Well, thank you for listening. Lawrence here with another audio show for you to listen to while at a terrible office job. Today's show I have to recommend for you is Red Moon. This takes place in an alternate timeline where the USSR beats the US to the moon, and as a result, both countries or blocs build moon bases on the moon. The story follows a former British agent as he uncovers a plot that involves both of these bases and the fate of the world. This is a spy thriller style series that is quite gripping and quite interesting. If you like high-octane spy action movies, this is the audio show for you. However, because of the subject matter, make sure that your coworkers can hear what's happening over your headphones. This is a good show for binge listening in the course of an afternoon or a morning. Well, thank you. Lawrence here with another audio show for you to listen to while at a terrible office job. Today the show I have to recommend to you is Star Wars Crimson Empire, a Legends-era Star Wars audio drama based on the Crimson Empire storyline. This story follows the rise of one of Emperor Palpatine's guards attempting to keep control of what remains of the Empire after his death, and another guard trying to stop him. The story is great, but where this work really shines is in its audio work. The background music is great as it's the original John Williams music. The sound effects that are used sound like pure Star Wars and do much to add to the atmosphere of the work. While the voice acting is phenomenal across the roles, the voice used for Emperor Palpatine is not very good. This is quite odd as the voice actor for Vader sounds quite good, as well as the voice actor for Wedge Antilles. It is not very long, but it is very good. Well, hope you enjoy it. Lawrence here with another audio show for you to listen to while at a terrible office job. Today the show I have to recommend to you is The Skyvers. This is a longish-running sketch series that I'm reviewing here because there's not that much to say. The sketches are very brief and quite punchy. This is good in case you miss a part of a sketch because your coworkers are loud. So loud. Anyways, the cast members are quite capable, so there's no issues in that regard. The sketches are widely varied and don't rely on a small selection of well-tread premises. One of the great things about this show is the theme song, which is very well done. All in all, I highly recommend this series. Well, have a great rest of your day. Lawrence here with another audio show for you to listen to while at a terrible office job. Today, the show I have to recommend to you is Hey Hey We're the Monks, a BBC pilot for a show that was never picked up. It follows, for a lack of a better word, a loser as he tries to get his life together. He does this by joining a failing monastery that is running out of monks to continue it. The monks need him to continue the traditions of the monastery, and he needs them to find a purpose in life. It stars Bill Bailey, and the comedy and writing are of a high quality. Unfortunately, it is only one episode long, and as such, you will finish it quite quickly. But all in all, I think it is a good pilot for a show that was never created. Anyways, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Lawrence here with another audio show for you to listen to while at a terrible office job. Today, the show I have to recommend to you is The Strange Dr. Weird. This is a series of creepy stories told by the eponymous Dr. Weird. Each of the stories is not connected to each other and each follows its own storyline. Many of the stories follow a less than upstanding citizen as they receive their just reward. This usually involves them meeting a gruesome fate, by 1940s radio standards. There are commercials, but they're not that bad to listen through, so it's not that big of a drawback. There are a lot of dated organ music, which may be regarded as an interesting touch to a modern audience. The series is a horror show and as such may not be for everybody, but I still recommend it. The episodes are not very long, each only being 15 minutes, but I still would recommend it. Well, have a good day. Lawrence here with another audio show for you to listen to while at a terrible office job. Today, the show I have to recommend to you is The Adventures of Frank Race. This was a detective show that was intended to capitalize on the success of Johnny Dollar and Dangerous Assignments, shows which I have already covered. Frank Race is a lawyer who, after serving the OSS during World War II, becomes a private investigator. He globetrots around the world to exciting locales while solving insurance issues. Race is often joined by his sidekick, Mark O'Donovan, who finds jobs, does some legwork, and generally advances the plot. It's not as good as the shows it tries to emulate, but is still solid and worth listening to. The dialogue is very well written, and the acting is of a high quality, making for a good experience. Well, I highly recommend it, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. It's here with another audio show for you to listen to while at a terrible office job. Today, the show I have to recommend to you is Week at the Top. This show follows John Week. This character is the stereotypical male chauvinist who works in marketing and brags about his car, his success with women, and his high paycheck. I wonder if he's based on a certain Pratt that I used to work with. Anywho, it follows Week as he tries to give his boss, Sir Marcus Rigsby, what he wants by the end of the week through a series of plots that involves characters from a wide range of departments as well as the secretary. The characters are hilarious and the show is very well written. The cast is also very good, with the show starring Alexander Armstrong. It is really worth listening to and I can highly recommend it. Well, I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Lawrence here with another audio show for you to listen to while at a terrible office job. Today, the show I have to recommend to you is Nebulous. This is a comedy sci-fi show taking place in 2099 in a society that is rebuilt from a cataclysm. It follows Kent, the key environmental non-judgmental task force, led by Professor Nebulous. They are a task force that solves environmental mysteries as well as running a laundry service. It consists of the professor, a genius with trauma stemming from his parents, who wear clowns, the mangled remains of a tech whiz, an AI, and the professor's two assistants. The show is a fun parody of old sci-fi shows with over-the-top sound effects and music with outrageous storylines, usually involving environmental issues of some sort. Just make sure that when you're listening to this show over the headphones that you don't have it too loud, as Harry can be very loud, and you don't want to damage your eardrums. Well, thank you for listening and have a great rest of your day. Lawrence here with another audio show for you to listen to while at a terrible office job. Today, the show I have to recommend to you is The Irrelevant Show. This was a long-running Canadian sketch comedy show that was produced by the CBC. The show consists of a series of short sketches over the course of the whole show, though longer sketches do occur. Many of the sketches were based on topical events from the time the show was being produced. It should be noted that these sketches were for a Canadian audience, but the vast majority can be listened to without much knowledge of Canada. The show has also produced many great songs, such as The Introverted Army and Drunken Emails Are Forever. The cast was quite large, so they were able to produce a wide range of different skits. All in all, this show was really worth listening to. Well, thank you and have a great rest of your day. Lawrence the Office Drone here with a big fan of mine. We're cracking these kinds of jokes seriously? Gonna come up with anything better? My goodness. Things have gone downhill. I should walk off the set. Lawrence here with another audio show for you to listen to while at a terrible office job. Today, the show I have to recommend to you is Expenses Only. This is a sketch comedy show that follows two younger people, Tim and Miranda, trying to break into the workforce as interns. They work in various different industries each episode, where they are taken advantage of by their employers and eventually fired. There are also some vignettes introduced by the narrator where certain sketches are used to enhance the overall story of the episode. The episodes are not very long, each being about 14 minutes, but they are quite good. As an office worker, I found the humor quite relatable, something that I think you'll find if you choose to listen to this series. Overall, I think it's a good series, and I really recommend you give it a listen. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Lawrence the Office Drone here with things you don't want to hear while working at an office job. I heard this emanate from the meeting room during a meeting which had the president of the company and the head of the finance department. What do you mean you don't know where the money's gone? You're the financial person. I'll tell you what, the morale in the company took a slight dip that day. Lawrence here with another audio show for you to listen to while at a terrible office job. The show that I recommend to you today is The Spaceship. This is a comedy science fiction series that follows the Really Invincible 3 as it goes about its Star Trek-style adventures with its crew. First is Captain Gordon Flashdance Taylor, the mildly eccentric commander. Then there's Melissa Patterson, the provocatively dressed Chief Security Officer. Clive 55, the 55th in a series of clones, who serves as the ship's medical officer and is hiding a sinister secret about his life. Karen Trax, who serves as the ship's communication officer. Feng Shui expert and all-around nice person. And Stuart Jackson, who is the ship's engineer and the newest member of the crew, who is often the character that is followed by the show. There's also a narrator who helps with exposition. All in all, the characters are really neat, and I really recommend giving this series a listen. Well, hope you have a great rest of your day. Lawrence here with another audio show for you to listen to while at a terrible office job. Today, the show I have to recommend to you is Colin Holt's Carnival of Monsters. This is what is best described as a character-based sketch comedy show. The listener is led through the carnival by the ringmaster, the loose-moraled proprietor of this carnival. The various people and attractions around the carnival are visited in the sketch portion of the show. Many of these characters are reoccurring, and each of their sketches are unique but follow a set formula for each of these characters. There are also some one-off sketches as well to balance things out. But the different characters allow for different kinds of humor, leading to a quite funny whole. The show has very excellent sound effects, which enhance the humor. The series is also of decent length, with 8 episodes in total. All in all, I do highly recommend this series. Well, hope you have a great rest of your day. Lawrence here with another audio show for you to listen to while at a terrible office job. Today, the show I have to recommend to you is This Is That. This was a Canadian comedy news show by the CBC. The show would have a series of fake news stories that would be absurd, but still grounded in reality enough for that they would, still be believable. What added to the humor of the show is that it was presented in such a way that it was indistinguishable from a regular news show, sort of like in the vein of the news show As It Happens. This also led to people calling into the show's talkback line with their thoughts on the news stories. These messages were occasionally played on air for everybody else to enjoy. And all in all, this was a very neat series and show that I think you will really enjoy. Well, hope you have a great rest of your day. Lawrence here with another audio show for you to listen to while at a terrible office job. Today, the show I have to recommend to you is Napoleon, the Man and the Myths. This is a 5-part documentary podcast by the BBC and hosted by historian Andrew Roberts that looks at the life of Napoleon Bonaparte and his impact on both France and Europe. The show looks at how history has viewed Napoleon and what the flaws in this view are. While this examination does look at military matters, it looks at more civil matters as well, such as the number of changes to France's legal code. This series also looks at how the rest of the world viewed him and tried to portray him through propaganda. Overall, this is an interesting series and worth a listen. Well, hope you have a great rest of your day. Lawrence the Office Drone here with things you don't want to hear while working at an office job. I heard this while I was pretty new in a office job that I was working at. There is currently a private investigator trying to enter the building. Boy, did I have some questions about the company I was working for and this new line of work I found myself in. Everything turned out okay in the end, and this didn't ever happen again. But, kinda weird. Well, hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Lawrence here with another audio show for you to listen to while at a terrible office job. Today, the show I have to recommend to you is Rendezvous with Death. This is a CBC documentary from 1965 that examines the sinking of the Lusitania on May 7th, 1915. This documentary examines the various circumstances that led to the sinking of the ship and the people who were affected by it. The producers of the show were able to interview the survivors of the sinking as well as a member of the crew of the sub that sank that ship. Each of these perspectives is extremely interesting and very in-depth. The audio design is also excellent despite the age of the program, and I highly recommend listening to this award-winning documentary. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Lawrence here with another audio show for you to listen to while at a terrible office job. Today, the show I have to recommend to you is The Consultants. This was a BBC sketch comedy show that originally aired in a 14-minute episode format, but later was expanded to 30 minutes in subsequent seasons. These sketches were quite light and funny, and the jokes came in very fast. The show always led with a sketch involving a group of consultants, which is where the show got its name from. Later seasons also included stories that reused characters and settings across multiple episodes. In addition to the sketches, there was at least one comedy musical number in every episode, usually at the end, and these songs were quite funny and clever. If you enjoyed the relevant show, you will enjoy The Consultants. Anyways, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you give this show a listen. Weren't those shorts great? Well, I hope everybody has a great rest of your day, and keep watching the space. We're doing fun stuff here. There's going to be more to come. Soundscapes, nature sounds, maybe even more historical silent videos, or any something else we don't know. Oh yeah, the fictional solutions were great. We can do some more of those, right? Good, good. Yes, more stuff is coming, but thank you for coming and watching this. Hope you have a great rest of your day.